Welcome back to a Monday cooking show. I have been rendezvousing in Oaxaca, which is amazing. Jem and Bolt was kind enough to let me be on this trip, and it was just so good, but that means I'm very behind on this cooking show, and I was in a, oh shit, what am I gonna cook kind of mood, which is kind of my life when I cook. I never know what I'm really gonna do. I hate meal prepping, as you guys know from these shows. So I wanted to create something that is like my go-to every time I'm in a pinch of not knowing what to cook for dinner, and it is very impressive. So people are always like, wow, this is so good. And I'm like, good, because I just made that shit up. So it's a Sloppy Joe stuffed sweet potato. And I just like, even talking to Blake, Sloppy Joes are my favorite meal, maybe besides peanut butter and jelly. And I've been gluten-free for a very long time, so I really miss Sloppy Joes, so I decided to make my own twist on it. Sloppy Joe mixes that are pre-made tend to be really crappy, so this is just my own version, really quick and easy. Remember, you can modify anything as you want. All you're gonna do is start with some peppers. Everyone told me how much I stress them out with cooking or with cutting. So I pre-cut these, so you didn't have to get stressed out with my knife skills, which I don't blame you, they stress me out too. So you start with some diced peppers. You can obviously do onions, you can do whatever vegetable you wanna do with this type of dish. Hold on, let me get my fancy turtle apron on. But then you get to pick your protein. So I'm gonna make 2 pounds of, this is ground turkey, but you can also do ground chicken or grass-fed beef, whatever meat you would like to use. Make a lot of this, because this is about feeding your family or feeding you more than once, because we have to make sure that we don't waste time when we're cooking to make the most out of it. So you're gonna start with 2 pounds of ground beef, and we'll work on seasoning first. The first thing we're gonna do is just turn on the oven and make sure that we get this nice and hot for peppers first and then add the meat. I will tell you that I have put the sweet potatoes in here, but full disclosure, I microwaved them before I put them in the oven because we are short on time. So if you want to microwave your sweet potatoes, you totally can, no judgment. But I'm gonna roast them up a little bit while we have time. So sweet potatoes are in there. If you have the time, it takes about an hour at like 425. I'm at altitude, I'm in Denver, so it might be a little less, a little bit more. I just go by the smell. As soon as I start to smell that kind of like brown sugary sweet potato smell, they're done. And then you're gonna slice it in half. So you can microwave it, you can boil it, or you can bake it, or you can do a combo, whatever you have time for. So once we get this heated, we're just gonna add some oil. I always use avocado oil. Avocado oil does really good at high temperatures. We talked about this before, but just in case this is your first cooking show with me, I'm gonna repeat myself. And you know what? It's good to repeat yourself anyway. So you're gonna put peppers in, get those nice and hot. Look how weird this is. This like came out of the pepper. It's like a little baby pepper in the pepper. As those get heated and you start to hear them sizzle, then we'll start to add the meat. If I have a small pan and a lot of meat, I separate them and then I add them together at the end. So let's just focus on seasoning. Is my mic getting weird? Sorry, Blake. Cool. So then we're gonna get into seasoning. So Sloppy Joe seasoning, obviously we have sauce. This is from my dear friends in Kauai, the best sea salt you can find. So sea salt first. I wanted to mix it for you guys so you realize how much sauce you need for something like Sloppy Joe's. People kind of like do this little spice thing. You gotta go ham. So you gotta, we're talking like lots of spices. So don't be shy with the spices. Anytime you're cooking something fairly boring, like ground turkey or ground chicken, this is where the spice part comes in handy. And they're so good for you in general. So you guys know I love tea, I love herbs, I love all the medicinal properties of it, but spices are the same thing, so don't be shy. Chipotle, we have my friend's Diane Sanfilippo's Diner mix, we have tandoori, a little cumin, little paprika, chipotle, just basically anything red that you find on the spice shelf. And obviously the spicier that you want it, the more you will add. So be careful with this one. This is paprika. You can definitely overdo that one. So we're talking a lot of spices, and this is basically for 1 pound of meat, which I'm gonna start by just making 1 pound, and then when we stop recording, I'm gonna make 2. So then when we get to the point of adding this, just dump it in. You don't have to worry about spices yet because we got the spices coming. It's been a really good week. I have so much to say. Blake, I finished my book. I know, yes. I know. So that's coming out. I finished it yesterday. I feel a little overwhelmed because I don't even know what that means when you write a book. Fuck, that's a lot happening all at once. But it's cool. At least I finished it. We're gonna take sweet potatoes out. Turn the oven off. I mean, granted, you have to keep in mind, this is like healthy sloppy Joe. So I'm not gonna radically take you back to 4th grade when you were in the cafeteria and, those sloppy Joes were so damn good. But do not be afraid. Like, look, get aggressive with the spices. That's what makes sloppy Joes so deliciously sloppy. So then from there, you're just mixing it in together. You can add some more salt, you can add more spices, whatever you want. And then the fun part, and this is the part that obviously is customizable for anybody. You can use a can of tomato paste. Organic tomato paste is like 40 cents. You can use some marinara sauce, which is really cheap. Just make sure you check the ingredients and have no sugar in it. A lot of them do have sugar. And then you're just gonna pour just enough to where it gets nice and sloppy. Such a weird word. You can add as much or as little as you want, but the reason I love marinara sauce is because it just adds a lot of flavor without adding a lot of effort. And that looks perfect. So let it simmer. Sometimes I cover it, I let it simmer longer so that the peppers are really cooked through. If I'm doing diced onions, I can also make it simmer a little bit longer and make it really good. As far as like that really I don't know, that sloppy Joe ground up. Remember how weird it was? It was like, I don't know why it tasted so good. It's kind of gross to think about what we used to eat, but that's okay. And then that's it. So we're gonna start by just doing a big giant scoop. Usually I have a measuring cup, but we're just gonna start with this. So you want at every meal, remember we wanna try to get 20 to 25 grams of protein. There's not a lot of protein in sweet potatoes and peppers, so that means that I'm gonna try to get it through turkey and turkey only, and then we come back over. So from there, you just take it, you kind of hollow it out, and pour it on. So I have all my favorite greens, the easiest ones that you can use. Of course, sprouts, we've talked about sprouts before, but just adding some sprouts can make anything better with its nutritional value. Sprouts basically have like the start of all the good B vitamins and enzymes that your body wants from vegetables, except it's power packed in little tiny sprouts. A little kale, we'll do a little basil. And my favorite topping, because I really do miss sour cream, I've been dairy-free for as long as I've been gluten-free. Again, I'm avoiding you being stressed out by my dicing skills, is this amazing new, so this one or the Kite Hill cream cheese. They have this incredible new dairy-free cheese that's just divine. Tastes like, I mean, the texture is like goat cheese, but it's just 4 ingredients. So I like doing Kite Hill cream cheese or the Just Like Feta Viola Life in replacement of sour cream. A little bit of oil for my dressing. Oh, actually, I got Caesar dressing. Not too much because it's easy to overdo dressing, but just enough to where it makes veggies taste good. This is my WTF am I going to have for dinner meal.